Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hartford Whalers Expansion Franchise here on NHL 24. Welcome back. We're post-trade deadline now. Our Whalers have made a couple moves. We acquired two-time Stanley Cup champion Bryan from the Pittsburgh Penguins. As a quick rush right here from the Hurricanes, as former expansion pick from Buffalo Victor Olofsson there on the early rush, an early chance for the Hurricanes, who made a couple deals of their own at the deadline. Acquired Ilya Lyubushkin and Liam Foudy from Columbus, an in-division trade, and they also acquired a couple of players from Nashville, as we will see them a little bit later. One of them being Dante Fabbro, as now Filip Zadina back the other way. Loose puck picked up by Landeskog. Centering pass there picked off by Seth Jarvis, being pestered there by Mark Scheifele. Now back up for Olofsson, as he is still fighting for it now in the neutral zone. Brandon Montour able to get it for Landeskog. A delayed penalty, as I think we were offside, and we'll see what the call is, as our Whalers in early power play now, just a minute and a half into the game. Seth Jarvis to the sin bin, 2 minutes for holding. So we'll now get our first look at Bryan here on this second power play unit there at the right wing, as Brock Boeser tried to get it to him, and now Bryan with it. Back to the point for Boeser. In front for Razovic, a shot. Kochetkov able to save that one. Now Razovic still with it for Mangiapane, and he tried to get Bryan there in front, but Dylan Coghlan took that back. Now Olofsson for Jake Evans, and he scores over the glove there, beating Yaroslav Askarov, former Hartford Whaler fan favorite, that is, Jake Evans. We selected him from Montreal in the expansion draft. He was around for a while with us. We didn't get rid of him until this past offseason, and they're short-handed, beating the glove of Askarov off a feed from Olofsson. So it comes full circle here. Two expansion picks now here with the Hurricanes, as they're only 2 points behind us right now in the Metro Division. We enter at third. They are at fifth and hold the second wild card spot. So not what we wanted to see. Just 2 minutes in, we surrender a shorthanded goal. And Bryan there, welcome to Hartford, with a big hit there towards center ice, as Guryanov leaping to save that one, as we try to get something else going here. Timmins over for Lyubushkin, his first time as a member of the Hurricanes. And now trying to get it, we cannot settle the puck at all, as finally Hurricanes do get the clear. Bluger does not get the full clear, though, as Guryanov picks it up now over for Mangiapane, working his way in. Mangiapane, our leader in power play goals, as he works in on the forehand, saved by Kochetkov, who leads all goalies in save percentage, or all starting goalies, that is. As only 20 seconds now left on this power play. It looks like we have squandered this opportunity. Went down 1-0 on the power play. You always hate that. Hurricanes just getting a bunch of clears there. We're just jumping for all those potential cleared pucks that do make it out of the zone. As let's get reset here and get some good rushes going, as Seth Jarvis there out of the box, hitting Razovic to the ice and forcing the turnover, as Olofsson will dump it in. Second in points on this Hurricanes team. We got rid of him at the year one trade deadline, sent him to the Los Angeles Kings as they were making a playoff run. And now Andrei Svechnikov with it. Right in front, backhand chance saved by Askarov. Now Kotkaniemi for Svechnikov, a rip there as Askarov turns that one away. And now Hartford a rush back towards the Hurricane zone. Bryan now with it into the corner. Back to the point for Montour now for Guryanov, a rip, and that's blocked by Jake Evans, or Olofsson, as that one definitely hurt. Hurricanes do get it out now. Svechnikov, as he will work that in now. Along the boards, and for Olofsson, couldn't get a shot off, as Guryanov does get that for Mangiapane. And so takes it up, gives up for Brandon Montour now on the rush for Hartford. Montour into the corner now in front for Mangiapane, blocked by Victor Hedman, now in his second season in Carolina. At 37 years old, is on an expiring contract, so more than likely set for retirement, as he is now with it. That one knocked out of the zone, as the Hurricanes will have to reset. Timmins now for Jake Evans, the goal scorer here, as he's now hit to the ice. Big hit there by Guryanov, a good chance in front, as that was stopped. That was Victor Hedman, as now Evans will get for Nieto. Back to the point for Hedman now for Foudy. The first time we see him as a member of the Hurricanes, traded over from Columbus at the deadline. And now back for Fabbro, also a newly added Hurricane here. Hedman working towards the net, saved by Askarov. Guryanov picks up that rebound, as I feel like he's been on the ice forever at this point, as he will dump that in. Some good action early on here from the XL Center, as Mangiapane in front forced a turnover there against Hedman, still battling for it. And so kick that over to Kotkaniemi. And now for Fabbro, comes over from Nashville, a lifelong Predator there Also a draft pick forehand pad save from Askarov, the former teammate of Fabbro's. He had another rip there, blockered away. Now back to the point, Barbashev, a newly acquired player, also came along with Fabbro from the Nashville Predators. Now Barbashev with it here, working towards the net, a shot that was blocked in traffic. As Mangiapane definitely needs a line change as he gives it up now in front for Barbashev. Backhand chance, and he scores his first shift as a member of the Hurricanes, and he finds the back of the net. What are we doing here in our own zone? As Bryan Rust was also out on the ice again for that one, so gave him the minus. And Ivan Barbashev, his first shift as a member of the Hurricanes. Askarov just couldn't handle it there, playing it against the pipe, or against the post rather, and just kind of served that up for Barbashev right in front. An easy backhand chance as the Hurricanes double their lead. Now 8:29 remaining here in the first period. We are down 2-0. Kakaniemi there on the assist, just a 5th goal of the year for Barbashev. No production really as a Predator. And now Landeskog towards the net as that's blocked away by Kochetkov, who was also among the best goaltenders in the league last season. So he's really emerged as one of the best in the NHL at this point. As now the Hurricanes trying to get something going here. That's Bluger, turns it over along the boards now for Andrew Peeke. As he turns it right back over to Bluger, who gives to Benning his first game of the season. Was their 7th D-man all year, and now finally cracks the starting lineup. And now Bluger in front, loose puck, as Kerfoot does get a shot off already. 10 shots on goal for Carolina, as no one was home defensively for Hartford, but luckily the Hurricanes passed that one out of the zone. As Benning will give over for Bluger. Teddy Bluger will dump it in. Andrew Peeke able to retrieve it. Peeke now working past center ice up for Zadina as he passes into the corner for no one. Picked up by Dylan Coughlin. Kerfoot back for Benning now. Matt Benning up for Victor Olofsson as he works towards the net, a shot, and that goes past the crease there. And luckily did not end up in the back of the net as Benning now hit to the ice by Brock Besser. There's a rip there from the corner there from Svechnikov. He has one of the best shots in the Metro Division. Now bounce pass off the boards for Besser. And still trying to work that in, nothing really doing. As Benning will take that from Kochetkov. Benning now over for Seth Jarvis. As he tried to find someone there in the slot, but no one home as Rust will give here for Besser. Trying to lead a charge here for Hartford. Besser peels back and eventually loses it there for Liam Foudy and will commit the tripping penalty. And the Hurricanes already a 2-0 lead. Will head to the power play for the first time. We'll have Cole Sillinger on the draw here along with Mangiapane. Ryan Graves also out there for the first time. Acquired him at the deadline from Montreal. Kind of forgot about him. I feel like we haven't even seen him yet. As he is there working against Tyler Toffoli. Does give up some leverage there, but does recover, I guess. Now Evans in front, back to the point for Barbashev. Now for Toffoli. And now a long pass there for Kerfoot. Back for Hedman, a rip, and that's blocked in front by Evans. As Hartford is able to clear the zone. Stay tuned after this game. We're going to sim ahead another 6 as we'll reach the game 70 point of this year 5 season. And like I said, we are 3rd right now in the Metro. Every point matters. Ryan Graves able to get that for Peeke. Not able to clear the zone though as Barbashev in the slot, a shot blocked by Graves. As Sillinger able to pick that up and clear that all the way down. Still giving chase. Picked up by Toffoli. And so good for Barbashev. Barbashev, the early goal here to his Carolina Hurricanes career. Now trying to get something going on the power plays. He makes Peeke miss down front for Evans. And now there was a rebound for Barbashev, but nothing doing. As Hartford does get that out of the zone. Final 10 seconds of this power play for the Hurricanes. As Hartford will just dump that in now back to full strength into the final 35 seconds of this first period. Barbashev over for Kerfoot. As he dumps that in, Carolina probably needs a line change now. As Ryan Graves with it now into the final few seconds here. Let's see if we get a late rush going as Carlson will get for Rust. We do get something going, but too little too late as Rust a rip, and Kochetkov kicks that away into the corner. So 2-0 after 1. The Hurricanes scored an early shorthanded goal and then got one a little bit later from Barbashev as he scores in his Hurricanes debut. They're outshooting us 13-6 and more than doubling our time on attack. So we got to get something going here in the second period. We were just all out of sorts there, a little disorganized, and let's keep it simple this go around and hopefully get one of these back. As Scheifele there against Seth Jarvis on the draw. Advantage Jarvis as Fabbro gives to Svechnikov now for Jarvis into the zone as he's closed off by Montour. Now for Zadina, who gives for Landeskog. Landeskog towards the net is going to be tripped there by Dante Fabbro, so we are going to go back on the power play. We had an early power play to start the first period, but hopefully not the same result, as we would give up that early shorthanded goal to former Whaler Jake Evans, as now Liam Foudy with it, fresh over from Columbus. Loses possession there in the neutral zone. Now Zadina, as he turns it over there to Jake Evans here in his revenge game. Back for Foudy now, a glove save by Askarov. Jake Evans playing with a chip on his shoulder, as he often did here in Hartford, but a little bit more of an edge this go around playing against the former team. He was a healthy scratch a lot of the way last season, so maybe feeling a bit salty about that, but was great in years 1 to 3, manning our fourth line center position, as we do win that face-off. But Bryan Rust just turns it over aimlessly to Lyubushkin, his first game coming over from Columbus. I think that was blocked in congestion, as Roslovic turns it over there, trying a long stretch pass. A little too eager on that one, as just fighting for it there in the neutral zone. Finally going to get it there for Guryanov, as second pass for Rust, and that's going to be a glove save by Kochikov. Now Roslovic on the draw, as we do get that off the tie-up. Montour back for Guryanov, a shot blocked. They'll take another rip, and Guryanov will hammer that home. He's been on the power play a lot in this game on that second unit, manning one of those defensive positions at the point. He does have a great shot. That first one was blocked, and he said, I'll just try it again, as Mangiapane there manning the screen, which opened up that goal for sure. Over there, the shoulder of Kochikov, a good block there, but the second effort from Guryanov, great follow-through, as he nets his 9th of the season. Mangiapane there on the assist. Now 48 points, which ties him for Bryan Rust, although all of those points for Rust came with Pittsburgh. And now we do get one back early on. Montour also on an assist, as we win that face-off. Now 2-1 early on in this second period. There's Ivan Provorov to Leo Carlsson, as he just dumps that further into the zone. Lyubushkin turns it over there for Besser. Now behind the net, Brock Besser. Good forecheck in front. He finds Leo Carlsson, a tight angle from behind the net, and Carlsson buries that one. The slimmest of margins to work with, and he found perfection that time. Carlsson, his 19th of the season. He's on pace for a career-high season across the board, really. And that all started with Brock Besser. That pass was phenomenal, you know. He got that on the stick of Carlsson before anyone could react. And the tightest of angles, looks like he got that like off the elbow of Kochikov, as we are knotted back up very early on. I think more goals than minutes played so far, as Brock Besser now his 48th point, tying Mangiapane and Rust for 245 through this second period, and already 2 goals to show for it. As again, we do get the puck off the face-off, and there's Brock Besser again working towards the net. Besser, a shot, rebound, and Fabbro able to get that off the kick save. And now Carolina, a lot of space here on the counter rush, but Peak using that reach, able to cut it off as Carlsson gives for Besser. Brock Besser now will dump that along the boards, giving chases Bryan Rust, and almost able to retrieve that as he was fighting against Victor Hedman. Hedman is able to turn it over there as Rust gives for Peak. Peak just dumps that in. Scheifele trying to fight for it, but good play there by Kakaniemi as he gives for Barbashev, now for Hedman. Victor Hedman into the zone as he's taken over there by Andrew Peak, who gives to Scheifele now for Provorov, and that one just out of the reach there of Landeskog. Some good puck movement, as that will result in an icing. As I mentioned earlier, Kochikov with a .924 save percentage, the top number among starting goaltenders, and second in goals against, just behind Spencer Knight. And now Landeskog in on the rush for Hartford, trying to get the lead. Save by Kochikov. Landeskog still with it off the rebound, as he'll get for Scheifele in front, and that's poked away. And then off the second chance was Zadina, and again Hartford going to go to the power play. That's Dante Fabbro's already his second penalty of this period, and not the warmest of welcomes, as he's a new member here of the Hurricanes. I think for the first time now we'll get that top power play unit with Carlsson, Scheifele, and Landeskog. Scheifele now back for Guryanov. Now for Scheifele, a shot, glove save by Kochikov. Great puck movement there off the face-off win. Let's try and do it again, as Scheifele will not win it that time against Jake Evans, but we are able to keep it in the zone. Guryanov now for Landeskog. Back for Guryanov, working his way up now for Scheifele towards the net. A save there by Kochikov. I think another pass there maybe for Carlsson would have been the right choice. But of course, hindsight is 20/20. As we now go to our second power play unit, they go to their second penalty kill unit, as we are able to keep that off the face-off. Rust fighting for it as he spins off a man in front. Bryan Rust, a shot there saved by Kochikov. Full pressure now for Hartford as Kerfoot does not get the clear. Gurianov keeps it in out for Roslovic. Back to the point for Montour's shot, as that's blocked away by Kochetkov. Poked down into the corner. Mangiapane spins off a man and loses possession, as Carolina eventually does get it out, as Kerfoot will take that into the offensive zone now for the Hurricanes. A weak one was blocked now for Gurianov, as he's been very hot in this game. We need him to emerge now, kind of weaker on the fourth line after the deadline, but Mangiapane off a Gurianov feed, as that slides past an outstretched Kochetkov past the net, as now just 10 seconds on this active power play, as we will get for Mangiapane now for Roslovic on a rush. 2-on-0 now for Hartford. Roslovic on the triple deke. There goes backhand, and Kochetkov slams the door, as we'll now try to reset back to even strength, though, as this has been a super fun game post-trade deadline. Both teams leaving it all out there on the ice. Every single point matters in this Metro division. And now Bryan Rust with it. We'll give for Roslovic. Now for Mangiapane, a shot, and he scores! Look at that puck movement. Rust to Roslovic, back for Mangiapane. A little give and go, and the drop pass to end it all is Mangiapane. He gets the third goal now of the period for Hartford, his 25th of the season. Oh, captain, my captain. He has been phenomenal. Expansion pick from Calgary, working there with Roslovic, as they've showed tremendous chemistry, mostly working on the second and third line. And Kochetkov, now the third goal allowed from him. Hartford takes the lead. And now the points leaders, we see Roslovic off that assist now with 48 points. Mangiapane and Rust both go up to 49. As, of course, Mangiapane with the goal, and Bryan Rust now a point in his debut with the Whalers. As now we do win that face-off. Buzzing now at the XL Centers. Mark Scheifele squeezes some defenders there, works towards a net. Glove save by Kochetkov. Not even halfway through this second period, and we have just overtaken all momentum. Let's see if we can double what we've already put in the back of the net. Hedman there off the face-off win, and Mark Scheifele an ill-advised trip there, as now Carolina a chance to tie it up. They do get the extra attacker out there on the delayed penalty, as Seth Jarvis working towards that backhand pass for Hedman. Now Svechnikov off the rebound, trying to find something else. Backhand, as that's paddled out into the slot, picked up finally by Zadina, as the Hurricanes now trailing by 1 will go to the power play. Face off now here to the left of Askarov. Cole Sillinger on the draw, as he will win it there for Sami Maki, trying to clear the zone, as he does clear that against the boards. Good start to the penalty kills. There's Mangiapane giving chase, holding up Tyler Toffoli, as that does kill some seconds. You love that persistence by the captain, and that's a big reason why he has the C. But Hurricanes now on the rush. Heponiemi, as he tried to reset, find someone in the slot, nothing doing, as Sami Maki clears the zone. And now Tyler Toffoli will try a pass there. Cole Sillinger intercepts it, and he buries that one forehand. What a goal by Cole Sillinger, as we get Gurianov a goal, and now Sillinger answers with a shorthanded goal. We need those fourth line players to start making more of an impact. And Kochetkov a little bit lazy there, or more so the pass there from 73. I'm not sure who that is. Toffoli, you know, just a lazy pass there, giving it up to Sillinger on a silver platter right in front of the net. And now our fourth goal, they get a shorthanded goal earlier, and now we get one of our own, as we are buzzing here from the XL Center. Still 55 seconds so for the Hurricanes on the power play. Good setup there for Kerfoot off the one-timer, but saved by Askarov. As we do clear the zone, trying to reset here are the Hurricanes, as Jake Evans now will take it in for Kerfoot, and a good pass there from Evans, and Kerfoot will bury that one from the slot, deep slot there. 12 minutes into the period. What is going on here? Crazy, crazy second period. We got the first 4, and now the Hurricanes answer with one of their own on the power play, and it's now 4-3 Hartford. All right, so that 2-goal lead did not last long. 8 minutes left here in this second period. Kerfoot's 18th goal of the season. Carolina now trying to get another one. Heponiemi, as Provorov able to fend him off for a little bit. Weak shot in front, and again, it's going to be a penalty here from the Whalers. So just like that, the Hurricanes back to the power play. Provorov headed to the box. If I'm not mistaken, that does now even it out. I think 3 power plays aside, as the Hurricanes are 1 out of 2. Of course, that power play goal just moments ago as a turnover there at the point, but Landeskog able to recover the play for us and take it back the other way. Landeskog hit off the puck. Good hit there by Olofsson, as it's going to go for elbowing. So let's make it 4-on-4 now. Geez, that first period just flew by, and now the second period is dragging. A bunch of penalties, a bunch of goals. Now 4-on-4 Montour blocked, as Scheifele off the rebound there. The deflection, Leo Carlsson now fighting for it in front of the net, as he does have a goal. Seth Jarvis held up by that stick laying out on the ice, as now Svechnikov will work towards the net, overtaken by Montour. And now being held up by Svechnikov, kicks that back for Sami Maki, as he will give for Mark Scheifele now. Loose puck picked up by Fabbro. Already 2 penalties for him in his Hurricanes debut. He does take that in though, as 4-on-4 now has expired. And out of the box there's Ivan Provorov, 2-on-1 for Hartford, as Carlsson could not handle that on the cross crease. And now back to the point, that's retrieved by Besser. A shot goes wide. Oh my goodness, as we are now back to 5-on-5 hockey. Just action-packed second period now. Olofsson out of the box will take that in. Olofsson being hit there, mugged by Brock Besser. And now Kakaniemi ends up with it, a forehand chance, loose puck, as Askarov sprawling out for it, still loose, and Kakaniemi found it somehow, and Askarov able to stop that. That was a little bit risky there, but somehow we come away unscathed, as we'll now have our 4th line out there. Cole Sillinger and Guryanov, 2 goal scorers in this one. Lyubushkin from the point again blocked, as now Provorov with it for Andrew Peak, as we just could not get any puck movement going, but finally now some space to work with, as Andrew Peak will just dump it in, giving chase. There's Guryanov, as Lyubushkin does spin away from him. And now Lyubushkin up for Heponiemi. His pass intercepted by Provorov, over for Guryanov now. Guryanov spins off a man and now goes up ice. He tried to go over but picked off by Evans, as now Guryanov does end up with it again. And the slot there almost was Cole Sillinger but blocked, as now Nieto will take it for the Hurricanes, being mugged there again by Guryanov and Sillinger. They're both flying around this game, although Sillinger does lose that to Lyubushkin, as he will dump that in, but Provorov looks like he'll pick it up. Provorov does give over now for Razovic for Mangiapane into the final minute in this second period. Mangiapane working in, trying to find some space, but loses that to Benning, who now gives for Liam Foudy. Foudy dumps it in, will give chase, but Jordan Spence beats him to it. And still kick for Mangiapane, now still fighting for it, as Jordan Spence finally with it will give up for Tom Wilson. Wilson now finding some space into the final few seconds here. Wilson pass there for Mangiapane, and Kochetkov gets over and able to cut that one off. I thought we were getting the last second goal here. You know, that would only be right to cap off that second period, as 4 goals there for the Hartford Whalers. We retake the lead. We gave up one there on the power play, though, to the Carolina Hurricanes, but we outshot them 17-9 in that second period. Dominated time on attack, so that second period, a whole different script than what happened in the first. But it all comes down to this third period now, as we do lead 4-3, and Seth Jarvis able to push Scheifele off that face-off, as he is now with it past the logo into the zone for the Hurricanes. Seth Jarvis working towards the net. Centering pass there, nothing doing, but Svechnikov back for Jarvis, now for Hedman. Back for Jarvis, a shot blocked in congestion. Hedman back with it though, now for Fabbro, blocked as Montour ends up with it. Some shot chances there for Hurricanes, but all kind of blocked there in congestion, as now Scheifele in the slot back for Zadina, a shot blocker save by Kochetkov, as now Hedman will head it up for Carolina into the zone now. Centering pass for Svechnikov, tried to rip there was Olofsson, but swinging a whiff as that was knocked away. Now Hedman, as he was hit off the puck by Zadina, but still with it back for Svechnikov, that goes wide. And now on the board, Scheifele able to pick it up off the bounce, but Svechnikov a gift in front as he scores. I think Askarov tried the poke there and just missed. I don't even know if Svechnikov even shot that one, but it ended up in the back of the net. Askarov just mistimed it, misjudged it, and the Hurricanes another early period goal, as this one does knot it up. There, you know, a little deke action, and Askarov just a little bit lost, and we're now knotted up at 4. Absolute crazy game so far. 17-08 now, as we're back squared. Off the face-off, there's Bryan Rust with it. He's had a few glimpses in this game. A good pass there for Besser. Brock Besser spins away. Now for Bryan Rust in the slot, a great chance there off the one-timer. Back for Leo Carlsson now, as he tries that for Montour, but Barbashev able to pick it off and bring it back the other way. Barbashev is overtaken there by Montour, as Montour will give for Besser. Loose puck, as Lyubushkin does end up with it. Takes that into the offensive zone, dumps it in for the Hurricanes, picked up by Sami Maki, as he does give that for Bryan Rust. Now for Leo Carlsson. This line has been looking good so far, as Besser, a forehand chance off a good feed from Carlsson. Glove saved by Kochetkov. Now that third line of Rozovic, Mangiapane, and Wilson out there as Andrew Peeke off the faceoff could not get a shot. And now there's Kakaniemi for Carolina. Pass goes aimlessly over to Heponiemi. Battling there with Mangiapane, who does end up with it, and then just rips it all the way down the ice, and that will go for an icing. Now 14:02, face-off to the right of Askarov. As we do win that one, Peeke over for Rozovic, former teammates with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And now here's Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson towards the net, as he does get overtaken finally by Timmins. And now Bluger over for Kerfoot. Kerfoot back for Toffoli, up front for Kerfoot on the lead pass, but could not find him, as Andrew Peeke will take that out of harm's way. Does lose that, though, as Kerfoot will get for Matt Benning. Benning now back for Toffoli, but missed him, as they are going to give chase now. Mangiapane, who else? They're chasing the puck, as Toffoli will bring that past center ice, dumping it in, and it'll be picked up by Provorov. Ivan Provorov pass goes nowhere, but the stick of Lyubushkin, who now takes it into the zone for the Hurricanes. Down to the corner in front for Toffoli, and really not much leverage there to work with. Askarov takes that one. Now 11 minutes even left on the clock. The fourth line's out there for both sides. Let's see who wants it more. They do get the face-off win, but loose puck now against the boards, picked up by Evans. For Nieto, a shot. Glove saved by Askarov. Another face-off here in the defensive zone. Cole Sillinger against Foudy, former Blue Jackets teammates, as Sillinger gets the best of him that time, as Jacob Perreault gives for Guryanov. Denis Guryanov in the corner, starting pass for Perreault, but could not really handle it. Although he still does have it now for Sillinger, a shot, and that was just past the right post, as Kochetkov able to use that to his advantage and freeze it up. Now Scheifele out there, as we have our top line now against their fourth line. They do get it off the faceoff, though, as now Liam Foudy will take it out. Dumps it in, giving chase there against Ryan Graves. Graves newly added from Montreal, as Carolina almost had a chance there. Wow, Jake Evans was almost there on the back door, but we were able to take it now back the other way as Ryan Graves will dump it in. Landeskog fighting for it there against Fabbro, as Landeskog does end up with it. For Scheifele, a shot saved by Kochetkov. 8:04 now left in regulation of this 4-4 hockey game. Game 64 of this Year 5 season for our Whalers. Scheifele off the win for Zadina. Now behind the net, Zadina for Scheifele in front. His shot saved by Kochetkov. Now behind the net, Zadina fighting now. Hedman with it, as that's 30 shots on goal now for the Whalers. 26 saves for Kochetkov. In the neutral zone now for Svechnikov. Dangerous with the puck on his stick. And now Olofsson could not get a shot off, as Sami Maki will take it the other way. A little rush now developing for Hartford. Scheifele for Maki, a shot. A glove save by Kochetkov. Leo Carlson now on the faceoff out there with Bryan Rust and Brock Besser, as Dante Fabbro will take it. Gives up for Barbashev. Now for Hedman in the slot. That one goes wide. And now back to the point for Hedman in the slot for Lyubushkin now. And again, I think his shot was blocked, as Askarov gives that over to Montour, as he does take that out of the zone now. Brandon Montour loses possession for Lyubushkin, as he will take that in now for Carolina. Lyubushkin a rush, as he can again not get a shot off. And now there's Leo Carlson, long stretch pass there for Besser, as he will work it in. Brock Besser now for Bryan Rust. For Besser again, a good shot in front, as Kochetkov will freeze it. Hartford with pretty much all the pressure over the second and third periods. Hopefully we can keep it up down the stretch here, as Carlson did win that, but Heponiemi able to intercept it, as now Kakaniemi was not able to get a shot off, taken by Sami Maki. As now Bryan Rust will dump it in and give chase, as Lyubushkin is with it. Now over for Timmins, as he gives up for Svechnikov. Olofsson now hit off the puck, picked up by Timmins, as he'll take that in. Back for Lyubushkin. Lyubushkin now for Timmins. A tough angle, as he had nothing really to work with, as Montour now for Carlson. Hartford getting a rush going here now as Carlson, good hit, was hit off the puck by Timmins, but Bryan Rust able to offer some support, but turns that over now for Olofsson, who gives here for Svechnikov, and now over for Seth Jarvis. Jarvis now for Svechnikov in the slot, save Askarov. Now 1:30 left in regulation, as Scheifele will win that back. Andrew Peeke with it, as he gives for Philip Zadina. Zadina now loses it at the logo, but picked up by Provorov for Mark Scheifele into the final minute here of regulation. Scheifele could not get a shot off. Now Benning with it. gives up for Kerfoot as Andrew Peak, a good hit there down to the ice, and he is now with it as he dumps that in. There's Mark Scheifele giving chase there against Benning. Good poke check, but Coughlin able to end up with it as a good hit there from Zadina. And now Hartford with it as that's a turnover there from Scheifele to Toffoli. Now back for Bluger, a shot, and he scores with 31 seconds left. We turned it over there. Mark Scheifele turned it over to Tyler Toffoli, and a great feed there for Teddy Bluger as the Hurricanes take the lead with 31 seconds left. What a game this has been from the XL Center, but that beats the glove of Askarov, and 5 goals surrendered. He's been not that great in recent games. In the second half of the season, really, he started off tremendously, but then suffered a couple injuries, and since then his play has kind of declined. And this is not the post-deadline showing that we wanted. You see there Kochetkov, 29 wins, 6th in the NHL, and looks like he is in line for 27. And every point matters, you know, even if we go to overtime and lose, at least we still get that point. But if this stands pat, they're going to be matched with us now in the standings. But it is not over yet. 20 seconds left as Provorov will try and lead the charge here. Mangiapane loses it, though, as we do pull the goalie. Seth Jarvis now over for Hedman, as that is intercepted by Razovic. Mangiapane now back for Maki into the final seconds here. Sammy Maki, as Razovic was hit down to the ice. Now, we did get the penalty there, so I thought we were going to have a chance. And now 3.7 seconds. We are probably not going to get a miracle here as they do win the face-off. Back to the point for Hedman, as that is going to do it here. One last save there for Askarov. As a wild game here from the XL Center post-trade deadline. The Hurricanes do win it 5-4. They had an early 2-0 lead. We then scored 4 unanswered as they would take a 4-2 lead. And then they would score 3 unanswered to win 5-4. As we squandered a chance here to keep our spot in the standings, as we're now tied with them at 3rd in the Metro. We're going to sim ahead through the next 6 games, and we'll see where we stand after that, as will be now 70 games through this Year 5 season, as we fall here by 1, 5-4 at the XL Center. Tough loss there against the Hurricanes, and we are actually still 3rd in the division. They would go on to lose their next 2 games, so we are still tied with them in points. But now a game here against the Philadelphia Flyers, who are 3 points behind us. We do have a game up on them, though, but still, as I've been saying over the course of this season, every single point matters. And a big one here against the Flyers, as after the first period we are tied up 1-1. Denis Gurianov carrying it into this game, another goal, and then Travis connecting at 2:36 remaining, able to knot it up. So now after the second period, we are up 3-2. Leo Carlsson and Brock Besser each get goals, but Jyrki Kontanen, the number 1 overall pick from the Year 2 offseason, gets a goal. He had 40 goals last season as an 18-year-old. He is one of the best young players in the game, and here to start the third period, we get Andrew Peak a goal, making it 4-2, as we now double their lead into the final 15 minutes now, as we will sim out the remainder in real time. And they get one back there, Oscar Sundqvist, as now less than 10 minutes in regulation. Hopefully we can hold out here, as they are on a power play. We kill it off into the final 5 minutes now. Still 4-3 Hartford, tied up on shots. And we are going to hold out here and get the victory on the road against Philadelphia. Leo Carlsson, 2 points, the first star. 2 points there for Brock Besser, the second star. As we do get back into the win column, we're going to give Yaroslav Askarov a rest in this next game. We are going to have a back-to-back, and we don't want to push it here with Askarov down the stretch. Give him a rest here against Boston. And again, we will throw backup goaltender Daniil Tarasov in net for this one. A tough trajectory here at the position because we have Javon Marks down in the AHL, and he's been tearing it up. I think he's ready for the NHL, which would propel him into a backup spot, which would force us to move on from Tarasov, who is, I think, second on the team in leadership. So the loss of his presence would definitely affect our locker room, but not thinking about that quite yet here against Boston. An early power play for them, which we do kill off. We will just simulate the rest of the period. No score after 1. They are doubling our shots, though. 14-7. Tarasov holding up tremendously so far, and still flawless after the second. We're up 1-0. Ivan Provorov gets a goal, and with a 1-goal lead, we will simulate the remainder here in real time, or somewhat real time, whatever you want to call it. As now a quarter through this third period, still 1-0 Hartford. And we outshot them by a lot there in the second period. We're now up 5 or 4 shots on them at this stage. And we do get another goal there, Andrew Peak. His second in as many games, not known for his goal-scoring prowess. But he nets a couple here, and he gets the empty netter as well. So a multi-goal game for Peak. I wonder how many he's had in his career. Definitely not taking up more than one hand if you count on your fingers, as he ends up with three points in this one. And Daniil Tarasov, look at that, the 32 save shutout, as we now string together back-to-back wins. We do have an injury there at Poughkeepsie, and now a matchup here against the Anaheim Ducks, the reigning Stanley Cup champions. Even though Tarasov just had that shutout, we will throw Askarov back in net, and that was Tarasov's second shutout of the season now, even with Yaroslav Askarov for the team lead. And now here with the Ducks, who, like I said, come off the Stanley Cup championship last year, taking down the Buffalo Sabres. As after the first period, up 2-0. You love to see that. Mark Scheifele on UC Markkinen, and Roslovic gets one a little bit later on. 18 shots to 5 in that first period. Outright domination. And we keep that going. Montour there makes it 3-0. And then Bryan Rust, his first goal as a Whaler, right in front of the net, made it 4-0. And Leo Carlsson, of course, a Duck here in present day, but we were able to draft him back in that 2023 draft. 5-0 after the second period, and we win this one 6-0, stringing together back-to-back shutouts. They gave Gibson the day off, but he had to come out there. 44 shots on goal for the Whalers. Absolutely insane. Back-to-back shutouts. 24 saves for Askarov. Mark Scheifele, the first star, with 2 goals. And that's exactly how we wanted to respond after that loss against the Carolina Hurricanes, which now puts us 4 points up on them, with the Flyers starting to slip a little bit. And we're only 2 points out now against the New York Rangers, as we are now going to sim this one, hosting the Montreal Canadiens. A 3-game homestand now. We are going to take on Minnesota and then Pittsburgh, and then call it quits on this episode after that. So after the first period, we are trailing for the first time in quite a while. Jacob Slavin there on Tarasov. I guess that was a auto-rotate goalie move there. And we do tie it up after one. Jordan Spence there on Anthony Stolarz, as we will live sim the remainder here. The Canadiens are out of playoff contention. Gavin McKenna is now part of that team. They drafted him 3rd or 4th overall, going back to the year 3 offseason. And still, we are on the power play now, 1-1 game, and they do kill that off. Now, back on the power play, and we can't deliver again now into the final 5 minutes. And we are going to jump into this game if we get some overtime, as Montreal now on the power play. That one killed off, and we do get OT here from Hartford against the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to get another look here at Gavin McKenna. We did check him out a few episodes ago, as we did have a full-length game against the Montreal Canadiens. I think we did lose that one. Gavin McKenna ended up scoring 2 goals against us. He entered that game with like 3 and then scored twice. But here we are back at center ice now to start overtime. There's Nick Suzuki against Mark Scheifele, as Scheifele powers him off the draw. And then just like that, Leo Carlsson tripped up, as we will get an extra attacker out there with a delayed penalty. Carlsson, a shot that's blocked now against the boards. And now for Scheifele. Back for Besser, who's on the ice now. Working towards net, a shot, as that's saved by Stolarz. And that's going to be Topi Antio, one of the younger forwards here on this Canadiens team. I think just 20, 21 years old, but had a great year last season. I think now into his 3rd year, as he's already an alternate captain on this team. Expected to be part of the foundation along with Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Gavin McKenna. And they also have Jacob Slavin on defense, as Landeskog tying Bryan Rust for 52 points on the team leaderboard. But now 4-on-3 power play here for Hartford, trying to net that game-winning goal, as Besser does give that to Slavin, who's able to chip that into Hartford territory. So Tarasov, a shutout last game, only 1 goal given up now in this one, as Landeskog a lot of speed towards the net, couldn't get a shot off. Loose puck picked up by Stolarz, as he will freeze. It's been quite a while since we've had to resort to a shootout. I think we usually get settlement here in the overtime period. Carlsson now misses a man there at the point, as he was trying to get Zadina, as we will be forced to reset now. Besser goes for Mark Scheifele, as now he goes for Carlsson. As a minute through this power play already, but a rush developing now for Hartford. Brock Besser peels off towards the net now, in the slot for Scheifele. He just gives that up for Suzuki, who does get the clear. Still nothing doing on the power play. Wasted opportunities so far. We'll try it again though, as Carlsson will work past a man into the zone with Besser and Scheifele. And Scheifele picks it up and again just cannot get a shot off there in a congested slot, as Kuzmin will get the clear, and that probably will do it. A wasted power play, as we will get 4-on-4 though in a few seconds, as there's Antia back out of the box and almost able to get the puck, but Besser hangs on a shot there, gloved by Stolarz. But back to my point about usually getting a settler here in overtime, the shootouts can take a long time here, so hopefully we don't have to resort to that.
as that was blocked now against the boards. Here's Scheifele in front for Karlsson, back for Scheifele, back for Karlsson, as he spins away from a man, and that goes off his stick against the boards. Now for Karlsson for Montoura's shot, and that's going to be blockered away. Hartford with all the pressure so far as Karlsson finally does get it in front of the net. No one there with him. Now for Montoura's shot. Pad save off the rebound. Brandon Montour sinks it as we get the game-winning goal and make it now 4 straight wins for our Hartford Whalers. We come away with a 2-1 victory. Daniil Tarasov, what a performance in net. Stolarz was good there in that period. I don't think Montreal had any pressure the other way, as now post-trade deadline we are 4-1. We started this episode with a tough loss there against the Hurricanes, but now have since rebounded very, very well, as we are now going to have a game against the Minnesota Wild and the Pittsburgh Penguins as we cap off this episode and try to keep the winning streak going as we have 2 more games on this homestand. Tarasov stopped 27 out of 28 shots in that game, as we're now here hosting the Minnesota Wild, our Stanley Cup champions from year 2, as we're trying to get to that point this season. And now puck drop here in Hartford, as after the first period we are trailing 3-1. Bryan Rustin early, or not early, but halfway through the period, a goal. But then Minnesota exploded with 3 goals in the matter of 2 minutes and 20 seconds, essentially. Kaprizov, Boldy, Joel Eriksson, Ek, as Askarov kind of folded there down the stretch. But we do tie it up after the second. And look at that, a Bryan Rust hat trick. He scores our first goal back in the first period, the first goal here on the power play in the second, and then about 8 minutes later, got the hattie. Look at that, Bryan Rust just acquired from the trade deadline, and he gets a hat trick. Probably just our second or third hat trick of the year, I think. I want to say Philip Zadina had one earlier in the season, as we will simulate the rest here in real time. As it's still 3-3 from Hartford. Shots at 31-29 for Minnesota, now 31-30, as we will pick up the pace. As we do get the goal there, Cole Sillinger on Wallstedt, as we rewrite that 3-1 deficit now with 3 unanswered into the final 5 now, 4-3 Hartford. Last minute of play, and we get another one there, empty net by Mangiapane, as we net 4 straight goals. We are just buzzing on all cylinders right now. Bryan Rust a hat trick. Mangiapane was the second star, goal and assist and 3 hits, and now make it a 5-game winning streak now against Bryan Rust's former team here in the Pittsburgh Penguins, his first game ever against them in his career. I'm pretty sure he was a lifelong Penguin up until that trade, so an emotional game here against his former team, as after the first period, no score, and maybe not going to repeat with another hat trick in this one is Rust, and still no score after the second, so our goaltending has been phenomenal here. Of course, Askarov had that rough stretch last game in the first period, but otherwise, our goalies haven't been, surrendering more than 1-2 goals a game down the stretch here, which is a step up from what they were pretty much after the halfway point of the season, as we're going to go all the way into the final 2 minutes now. Still no score in this one, and now we will just live sim this overtime period. And apologies for some technical difficulties, but for some reason I lost a video on the end of that episode, but we pretty much were done. But in that game, we would go on to post a shutout there, 1-0 in a shootout. Daniil Tarasov was the goaltender, so he's posted another shutout here. I think 2 of his last 3 games have been shutouts, as his numbers have climbed dramatically in that span. The goals against now under 3, the save percentage at .902. With 3 shutouts this season, Askarov, 900 save percentage, 299 goals against, which now is under 3. You like to see that, and 3 shutouts. So our goaltending has really picked it up here as we end the episode on a 6-game winning streak with that 1-0 victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins. But this is where I'm going to leave you folks. Thank you so much for watching. It was a great episode in all, and despite starting with that tough loss against the Hurricanes, we rebounded well. Some close wins, some big wins, as we're now riding a 7-game winning streak into next episode. Currently second in the Metro. We are 3 points up on the New York Rangers, and more than likely that's the team we're going to meet in the first round of the NHL playoffs this year, as we're going to try and get home ice advantage in that series, which of course finishing second would accomplish. Also Hurricanes right behind them, as the Flyers now a bad stretch of play. They're now out of a playoff spot as the Devils have passed them, as the wackiness continues in this Metro division. Next game we are going to jump ahead 5 or 6 games, and then we are going to pick it up next time out with a full game against the Rangers, as of course that matchup is going to have huge implications on the first round of the NHL playoffs. But as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.